as we examine that from the story of Abraham once more. My name is Lukumulu Okeke, and you're welcome back to Bible Story Retell. If this is your first time here, I hope you find the channel interesting, as I will be retelling the Bible stories from Genesis to Revelation, solely focusing on the biblical heroes and pointing out areas where Jesus had been pre-introduced to us. We also examining the lessons learned from the life of those heroes. Subscribe now if you haven't already. You will be helping this channel a great deal. One fateful night, while Abraham was praying in his house, God visited him in a vision. The image Abraham saw startled him. He became afraid, but God said to him, Abraham, don't be afraid. I am your shield and your super great reward. Abraham's racing heart calmed down and he caught his breath. Instantly, he asked God for the most pressing concern and desires of his heart, which was the demand for his own biological child. Abraham proceeded to ask God, what would you give me, Lord? As you can see, I am childless, and Eliezer is the steward born in my house, born by my servants from Damascus. You know you haven't given me a biological child, and by custom, the one born in my house would be my heir if I have none. God, in his mercy and loving kindness, responded to Abraham by reassuring him that Eliezer will not be his heir. Again, reassuring Abraham that he would have his own biological son, and that son would be his heir. After this, God led Abraham out of his prayer place onto the open field, where he instructed him to look up to the glittering night sky. Ask him to count the stars in the sky. Abraham, unable to keep up with the number because of the volume, God told him that as numerous as the stars in the sky are, so would Abraham's seed be innumerable. This promise lifted up Abraham's worried heart. He trusted God's word so much. Because of that, God counted Abraham as a righteous man. God proceeded to remind Abraham of what he had done for him, telling him to remember that he brought him out of Ur of the Chaldees to give the land of Canaan to him as an inheritance. Abraham curiously asked for a sign to note the fulfillment of this promise, as God was gracious enough to let him know how innumerable his seed will be. Guess how God responded to that question? If you assume God answers straight up, you are wrong. He simply asked Abraham to set up an altar and offer unto him a savory sacrifice of 3-year-old heifer, goats, and ram, with one turtle dove and young pigeon. Abraham didn't hesitate to obey this instruction. By the next day, he got the altar ready, slaughtered the animals, cut the 4-footed animals from their neck down into 2, but the birds he didn't cut. He laid the sacrifice prepared on the altar, setting each half beside themselves, and the birds also right beside themselves. Soon after Abraham was done preparing the altar, the vultures came down and tried to consume the carcass, but Abraham pushed them. By evening, Abraham fell in a deep sleep, and suddenly in his dream, everywhere became dreadfully dark. But then he heard a familiar voice, which told him that his descendants will migrate to a foreign land, where they will be made slaves for 400 years. But afterwards, he will judge that nation which they will come to serve. Then he will surely get them out of that land, rich with material things. God further made it known to Abraham that he, Abraham, would no longer be alive at the time this event would happen, because it will happen after he's really old and dead. Interestingly, he told Abraham the reason why the descendants after him wouldn't be able to inherit the land instantly, and that was because by the fourth generation after him, the stage would have been set ready for the punishment of Amorites, as their offense was still piling up. Abraham opened his eyes when the night had come. To his surprise, he saw a pot of burning coal and a torch passing through the divided piece on the altar. There and then, God made a covenant with Abraham after he had woken up, right? And he said to him, "To your offspring, I give this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river Euphrates, the land of the Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Kadmonites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, and the Jebusites." But it didn't end there, because the real blood covenant was yet to take place. More is yet to come. Continuation of this story will drop shortly. Stay tuned. Bye for now.